So, at the very core of modern physics, there's this massive problem, a fundamental clash between our two best theories of how reality works. But what if the problem isn't the theories at all? What if we've been asking the completely wrong question for almost a century?
I mean, really think about that for a second. What if the reason we can't stitch together our understanding of the huge cosmic scale with the tiny quantum world isn't because one of them needs a little tweak, but because both of them are just seeing a piece of the puzzle, incomplete maps of a much deeper, much stranger reality?
So here's our game plan. First, we're going to dig into why physics' two main pillars are at war with each other. Then we'll look at this kind of mysterious third option nobody seems to talk about. After that, we'll explore a wild new idea of the universe as a single unified fabric, what that means for particles, and finally, ask if it reveals a whole new layer of reality we've never seen before.
All right, let's start with the Great Divide. You have to understand, modern physics is basically built on two giant pillars, and each one is ridiculously good at what it does. I mean, stunningly accurate. The problem is, when you try to get them to work together, the whole thing just crumbles.
See, on one hand, you've got Einstein's general relativity. It's this beautiful, elegant description of the big stuff. Planets, stars, galaxies, all governed by gravity, which it says is just the curving of spacetime. Then on the other hand, you have quantum field theory. It's the rule book for the supersmall, the world of atoms and particles, and it's all about probabilities and weird energy fields. Two completely different universes with two completely different sets of rules.
Let's look a little closer at general relativity. In its world, there are really only two things: space-time, which is the stage, and energy, which are the actors. But here's the weird part. The theory is brilliant at describing the result of their interaction, what we feel is gravity, but it has absolutely nothing to say about how that interaction actually happens. It's a description, not an explanation.
And then there's quantum field theory, which is even more bizarre. I mean, its predictions are the most accurate in all of science, period. But conceptually, it's a mess. Its equations aren't built into space-time. It's more like they just sit on top of it. It's like building a car where the engine isn't connected to the wheels. It just sort of floats above them. That just can't be the final story.
So, this is the bottom line. It's not that they just disagree on a few details. Their core assumptions, the very foundations they're built on, are fundamentally incompatible. They flat out contradict each other. Logically, they cannot both be the complete and final truth about reality. Something's got to give.
Okay, so if our two greatest theories are at war, what's the solution? For decades, the Holy Grail has been unification, squishing them together. But what if that whole quest is a wild goose chase? What if that's the wrong goal entirely?
You see, for years, physicists have been trying one of two things. Either they try to quantize gravity, which basically means forcing Einstein's beautiful theory to play by the messy rules of quantum mechanics, or they try to geometrize the quantum, doing the opposite, trying to make all that quantum weirdness fit into the smooth geometry of spacetime. And honestly, both approaches have been stuck in the mud for a very, very long time.
And this brings us to this really interesting quote from the research we're looking at. It points out that in all this struggle, there's a third way out, a third option that almost no one ever talks about. And you gotta wonder, why is it so unspoken? Isn't that a little weird?
And here it is, the unspoken third option. What if both theories are perfect descriptions of what they describe, but they just can't be unified because they were never meant to be? What if they're both just different angles, different perspectives on a single, deeper reality that we haven't been able to see yet?
This is where we get to the really exciting part. A radical new idea that says, to solve this, we need to stop trying to fix the old theories. We need to toss them out, conceptually, and start over with a brand new, incredibly simple foundation for all of reality.
This new idea is called the changing space theory, and at its heart, it is just beautifully simple. Forget space-time and energy. Forget particles and forces. It proposes that there is only one thing that exists, a single 4D elastic fabric. That's it. Everything we experience, every electron, every beam of light, you, me, the stars, is not a separate thing in the fabric. It is the fabric, just moving, twisting, and wrinkling in different ways.
Now, this isn't just a cool idea for a sci-fi movie, it's a testable scientific proposal. Here's the plan. Step 1. Build a computer model of this changing elastic fabric. Step 2. Figure out a way to get stable, lasting wrinkles to form in it. Now, step 3 is the big one, the real kicker. Can you make these wrinkles have that super weird quantum property of half-integer spin? If you can pull that off, the final step is to smash them together in the simulation and see if they act exactly like real particles do at places like the Large Hadron Collider.
So let's imagine for a second that they succeed. What would that actually mean? It would completely upend our understanding of everything. We'd have to rethink what matter is, what forces are, and what a particle even means.
Just look at the difference here. The model we have now starts with all these separate categories. Space-time over here, energy over there. Matter particles, force particles. But in the changing space model, there's only one foundation. Everything is just a different kind of wrinkle or contortion in that single fabric. Forces aren't a thing anymore. They're just the way the fabric itself moves and communicates.
Right now in physics, we make this really important distinction. You have fermions, like electrons, which are the guts of all matter. They have this strange property called half-integer spin. Then you have bosons, like photons of light, which carry forces, and they have integer spin, two totally different families.
But in this new model, that sharp dividing line just vanishes. It's gone. An electron and a photon are no longer fundamentally different things. They're just two different dance moves, two different ripple patterns, happening in the very same cosmic ocean. The very idea of matter versus interaction just dissolves.
Okay, so what on earth is this spin thing? It's one of the deepest and weirdest ideas in physics. For a matter particle like an electron, it has spin 1/2. And what that means is absolutely bizarre. To get it back to looking the same, you can't just turn it around 360 degrees like a normal object. You have to turn it 720 degrees, 2 full rotations, which makes no intuitive sense at all, right? The hope is that this theory could finally show us that this isn't some abstract math, it's the literal geometry of the wrinkle itself.
And all of this leads to the final, and honestly the most profound implication of the entire theory. It suggests our whole scientific worldview, everything we've discovered, might just be a surface-level view of what's really going on.
The idea is that there are 2 layers to everything. Layer 1 is the deep fundamental reality, the real physics of this single elastic fabric. But we can't see or touch that directly. What we can see is layer 2. That's our perspective. So all of our amazing, successful theories, general relativity, quantum field theory, all of it, they aren't wrong. They're just the effective rule books we've created to describe the behavior of the wrinkles we can perceive from our limited point of view.
And this leaves us with one last, huge question to think about. Could it be that everything we study, all the particles, all the forces, all the beautiful complexity of the cosmos, is just an illusion? Are we just observers watching shadows dance on a cave wall, the behavior of wrinkles on a single immense cosmic fabric that makes up everything? It's an idea that could change everything we think we know.